Alright my friends, how you all doing? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to a fresh episode of our city zoo build, Tropical Wings Zoo. Now I had said a couple of days ago, gang, that we wouldn't be back in Tropical Wings this week, but I've been doing some work on the zoo, as mentioned in last episode, which I will link above. It was more of an update and kind of a plan of action episode, but I've kind of been working away trying to finish off certain areas, and I started working on a couple of things, and they've almost become mini projects on themselves. So let me show you what I've been up to. So we're here at the entrance, gang. This is where I start every single episode, even though I give everything away with my titles, thumbnails, and all that good stuff. Now, what I've done for today's episode is, as I've already said, been working away with lots and lots of things, trying to finish off areas in the zoo and prep other areas ready for the new update and the new DLC that's going to be coming out later this month. And then, as a result, I was taking a good look at a couple of habitats, and I thought to myself that, that could do with, a big overhaul, that could potentially do with a bit of a rework, and then these two ended up being rather big deals, and they ended up taking me a little bit of time. And the Nile monitor's habitat in particular has literally been completely reworked inside, and I'm now really looking forward to showing you what I've been up to. First and foremost, we're going to head over to the Fennec fox, and I'm going to put on the screen first a before photo. And then this is how it looks after. It's a big change, gang, isn't it? A really, really big change. I'd been thinking about doing this for a while, I'm going to be honest with you, because the thing that's different about this kind of like little indoor area is that it's guest facing at the end of the day, and we already have a kind of behind the scenes, area anyway that our zookeepers can enter and whatnot. So I felt like this needed to be kind of a bit of an extension of the actual main outdoor area. We needed to decorate it a bit more and, just make it feel a bit more real and a bit more like something you would see in a zoo. And so this is basically what I've come up with. This is the indoor area for our Fennec fox. Now, this is kind of inspired by the rock design that I was doing over at the Prairie Dogs a couple of episodes ago. You actually received almost 3 episodes in the space of about 5 days with Tropical Wings is concerned. I'm actually flying at the minute with this project. And because of the rock work and stuff that I did with that, it kind of inspired me to potentially kind of mess around with this hab and see what we could make work, basically. So first and foremost, we got rid of that box that sat over here. I kind of leveled all of this out a little bit. I then obviously got rid of that ramp, and I decided we didn't really need kind of like kind of a box or a little hide or anything like that for the animals to hide in, because this is a indoor building anyway, so they're kind of coming in here to get away from the elements if it was rough or whatnot, so decided against that. But as you can see, I've kind of gone with more of a kind of arid kind of setting. We've carried on the sand in here, and then we've just gone with some rocks and some twigs and then some drier kind of grasses and plants and whatnot to kind of achieve the feel that we've done. The rocks, as you can see, they're kind of made up of all the faux rocks, and then we've got these little branches that you can find in the planting, and I kind of used a few of them to kind of like add to one another to kind of make trees that got no leaves. This is actually a vine that's been sunk underground. I'm actually going to show you what this one is, because this was really cool. The Spanish hanging moss is what I should have said. And what I've done is I've sunk it right into the ground, and it just kind of gives the feeling of a plant above ground, basically a bit of a drier grass or something along those lines. And it really, really added something to this indoor building, and absolutely loved it. I put in a couple of heat lamps. I've kind of I'm changing the heat lamp design up a little bit. I actually took a look at a couple of Lida's heat lamps that he created for a few of his projects, and I kind of based them off that, basically. They're pretty similar. I just haven't done all of the detailing kind of underneath here, because he used a lot of different pieces to kind of change colours up and whatnot. But, I'm just trying to reduce the pieces. The last heat lamp that I made was just one hanging hanging lamp, and I think it was something like 280 odd pieces just to kind of like make the one lamp, whereas this here with the two is about 100 and something. So yeah, we've really reduced it. You're probably looking at it thinking, where on earth is like there are 100 odd pieces, but underneath here there's like lamps and whatnot and bits and bobs that have been added. So yeah, and then I've added some lights in here as well, kind of added the lights along there. And if we kind of look at it from this angle, you know, it takes on a little bit of a different feel because we've got this doorway that obviously comes in here. I've kind of put some hinges on this now. I wanted to make that feel a bit more realistic because it was it was feeling a bit funky, to be honest with you, before. As you can see, we kind of continued the rocks and whatnot. And we've got some enrichment items in here as well, which is really nice. I've started using the decals to kind of cover up some like... so it doesn't look so neat, so it almost looks as if the sand has been scraped up and spilled out onto here. I tried to reduce the size of this door, but I think we've got a bit of an issue here because of the tight turns and whatnot, and there's 3 gates all really close together. When I tried to reduce the size of the doors, it wasn't playing. It weren't playing with me, and so it was getting a bit confusing. I was trying my hardest to sort it. I've just left the doors as they were. It's just one of those things. Something else that I've added in here as well, and this was something that someone mentioned a long time ago, is I've added a little hatch in here, and it was basically in case an animal was to come in, if it got stuck, if it, you know, was injured or it passed out or whatnot, there is a hatch here that the zookeepers can now open and lean in and retrieve the animal, basically. I redid a little bit of this work here because I had to rework this wall. Apologies if you can hear Rolo, he's just barking at the other dogs that are barking outside at the moment. So yeah, I had to do a little bit of a rework on this wall, so I've changed all the wiring up on there. I've added lights. I've changed these lights up a little bit as well, because it was all a bit much, to be honest with you. What I have done as well, if we go in here, is lots of people have been saying to me that I should start kind of messing around with the lights and whatnot, and I hope this has saved before before the game crashed. Yes, it has. A lot of people were saying I should use red lights behind the scenes because that's more in keeping with what zoos do, and so that's what I've done, and I've reduced these down a little bit as well. And you can do that just by not making them brilliant white, but just making them off white, just basically going with a very light grey colour, and then they're not as strong, basically. If we go in here, you'll see it's very much the same thing, and then if we go in here, it's really kind of like got a lovely kind of mood about it. It's you know, made to feel a lot more kind of like dark and whatnot, and then we've got the lights in here. I've still got to do the notice boards. I literally had finished this room up, and then I noticed that, and I was like, I want to get an episode out. I can't spend all my time doing those as well. I'm going to have to create different ones because the screens are a bit different, and because this is a unique feature to this hab, I really want to do something a bit more kind of unique with the notice boards anyway, than doing them as you know, the same as what we've got outside. As far as the outdoors is concerned, not much has changed out here, to be honest with you. I've just started adding a few more like twigs, things like that. Obviously we've got no water in this hab, because I was going for a more of a dry, arid kind of setting. So I obviously added a little water trough in with the tap, because then you don't have to worry about your zookeepers filling up and whatnot. And I've just put some rocks and some plants around it just to kind of disguise it. And I think actually it looks pretty nice, to be honest with you. A bit of height in the habitat is always welcome, in my opinion. So yeah, that's some of the work I've been doing on the Fennec Fox. This is probably going to be a relatively quick episode, by the way, gang. I just wanted to show off what I've been up to, basically, more than anything. Something else I've been doing, I've just finished off these gates, finally got them done, so they're all closed in. I've started working on you know, pavements and whatnot, as we are going to be working out this way once I've done all of my updates and whatnot. I've made a start at the inside of this restaurant. This is going to take a long time to get right, because I, to be honest with you, I really don't know what I want to do with this. I didn't like what I'd done last time. I don't mind the seating area. I quite like that. I've used the restaurant seats because they look the nicest. They're not going to operate the way they should because this isn't one of the restaurant buildings. But basically, I wanted to go with this kind of booth feel. Got these lights in. I really, really like these. I'd kind of seen someone else make something similar. And so I kind of just basically gave it a go. And this is what I came up with. I really like the colours because I feel like the reds, the oranges, the yellows are the colours we should kind of be going with. I've started adding some props behind here because with the nature of this restaurant is we've just got a door here and then this door just goes straight outside, so there is no like other room where this stuff would be hiding. So this is basically where all the food would be made, cooked and served basically. So it's actually a bit more of a restaurant-y feel because the food's going to be kind of like fresh to order kind of thing. I'm going to probably leave this open. I don't really want to add any more seating on the inside because we've got a vast amount of seating on the outside. I did change this. I did this a long time ago. I did this before I did the last cinematic episode, but I've not covered it because I haven't really had a chance. But I changed this. You will remember this was another sloped bit of roof basically, and I didn't like it. And when I was trying to finish off the buildings and filling gaps, it just didn't work. And then I was looking at some images of roofs and stuff like that, and this kind of like cast iron kind of steel roof, that sort of thing, was really, really popular in a lot of stuff I was looking at, and I think it really ties in nicely with the thatch, I'm going to be honest with you. And then we got the windows, the doors, they're all tied up now, all the roofs on, all the trims done. It really is just a case of, decorating the inside. I've put this drinks thing in. I've used this before in one of the other restaurants that we've made, but I might try and make it a bit smaller. Because I think it's actually a bit large. Why would we need 9 drinks things there? But I'll probably do that. As you can see, adding cups and things. It's going to take a while to get this where I want it because it really needs to be decorated to perfection on the inside because it's a bit more of an actual restaurant, this one. So yeah, really, really got my work cut out, but I have made a start basically. That's what I'm working on at the moment after I finish this and I finish the Nile monitors. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to have another look at what it looked like before. And this is what it looks like now. This has gone through a drastic change. It really, really has, but for the better. I actually absolutely love this habitat now. And what I really, really like about this image is look at the people on the outside taking a good look at the new Nile monitor habitat. It's new, it's improved, it's reworked, it needed to be. I didn't realise just how funky and how horrible it was before. But yeah, this is kind of what we're looking at basically, gang. I have changed it a lot. I basically leveled out all of the terrain. If I was to go here, basically, because this is probably the best place to look, this terrain was all over the place, and I'd basically taken the terrain up quite high because obviously our pond is very, very high, and so it was the only way in and out for the animals. Instead, what I've done now is I've kind of made a slope up to the water, but what's really, really cool about it is from guest view, you cannot tell there's a slope there, but the animals will go up and they can get in the pool and they can still swim. And I've decorated all this a bit better as well now with the choice of plants that I've used. And you're going to see with the cinematics at the end that it's got a little bit of a waterfall and there's actually a stream that runs this way now. Now how I've achieved this is I've used one of the waterfall things, basically sunk it down into the ground, disguised it with the ground, taking it just over the top, then putting some rocks in and whatnot, and it looks really, really nice when it's all working. What I would say though is I wish we could change the speed of the water movement because it is quite strong. It's quite fast. And then it goes this way and it goes down through a grate, basically. You know, that's kind of like our little water system at the front there. And it's nice as well because it kind of separates you know, the front, because we always had this weird little ugly indent there because of the glass, the pathway and whatnot when we've been trying to put in, you know, trying to sort the ground level out and whatnot. It just didn't come off very nice before. So, yeah, so this is what I've done this time. So, yeah, let me take you around so you can have a really, really good look at what I've done and all the changes I've made. So, here is the door. I've changed this ever so slightly. We had a big section here, basically, that the zookeeper used to come in. But I didn't really see the point because we've got this room. And I think this room is going to be used lovely when we get all of the new pieces in the new DLC, because we'll be able to create racking, we'll be able to have, you know, racks on there with, you know, shovels and all this sort of stuff, so that the stuff is there ready to use for our zookeepers and whatnot. I think we can really make use of this space quite beautifully. So yeah, the door is still in the same place, but I kind of worked it out a bit better. Before, our zookeeper used to walk in and he'd clip into stuff, whereas now I let the zookeeper walk in. I marked the spot where he does, instead I kind of just made all of this brickwork, basically. Same again, I've been inspired by what I did in the prairie dogs, and we've got those little pieces, but I've mixed them in with the big pieces, and I've also mixed them in with this dry kind of mudded wall design that I do with all the root systems. And I think we've really, really got a lovely mix of the two. This was a little bit inspired by the Komodo dragon habitat, which I think is telling, especially with this little bit here with this section in the middle. Very, very similar to what we made over in the Komodo dragons. But I've combined it with, you know, a lot more plants and, you know, a lot more stone to kind of separate it from what we've done over there. Used a couple of different plants in here as well. Wanted to change it up a little bit. But as you can see, some enrichment items over the back here. We kind of worked all around the corner. It was just a case of just creating space for the animals, but also kind of disguising things like the door and the corners and bits and bobs for our guests, and to just make it a bit more interesting. I actually think leveling the ground has made it interesting. Usually using different terrain levels is what will bring, you know, your sight lines into play and whatnot, but I actually think this has been made interesting because of the way we've flattened it, and then we've kind of made this kind of rocky verge, and then there's this water with this little waterfall that falls over. This all looks so much better when you get to see the cinematics and it's all in action. So yeah, this is the little pathway that runs up, basically, to the top. You could see this in two ways. You could see this as maybe like an old temple ruin that kind of fell to pieces, or because it's so disguised, you could just see it as, you know, just a rocky verge that went up to the top. I could actually use a lot more of these if I wanted, because they do just walk over them, but I just kind of wanted this to be nice and smooth leading up to the top. As you can see, there are some planters kind of inset in that. If we come over to the pool, you'll see I've kind of carried on the design. We go all the way around and we come around this way. I haven't bothered along here. Instead, just kind of put, you know, some concrete on the wall to kind of protect it, because our guests can't see that bit of the wall. And then if I was to just dive under the water, because I do think this is just as important, you'll see we've created some little planters using using those little rocks. A rocky verge over here, another little planter is disguised in there. There's kind of like this little opening as well. And the reason I've done that is because obviously we have got some lilies and they would need some purchase under the water, and obviously they wouldn't be able to do that into kind of like the bottom of the pool. Again, I've used the mud because I think you just get a better texture for the bottom of your pools by using that. Yeah, that's pretty much the pool. They do use it. They can come up, which is absolutely amazing. Some lovely like hanging palms as well that I like to sink in, so they look like trees over the top. One over the corner there. And then if we was to come around this way, you're going to see we've got this like nice little waterfall section. You know, it falls down here into kind of like the river. And then the river runs off this way. And then if we're taking a look at the rest of the habitat, you will see that I've just kind of gone, as I've already said, with a very similar design to what I did with the Komodo dragons. We've got a little heat lamp in here, in their little cave section, and then at the top you'll see that we've just gone with like all the plants and whatnot. Again, mixing up rocks a lot more in this one. Little scratch pad, we've got rocks at the back here, lots more plants, fallen twigs and things like that. Nice little centerpiece in the middle, which I really think draws your eye to it. It's a bit of a weenie, really, you know, if we're talking in those sorts of terms. It's what theme parks basically call, you know, things that draw the eye, big attractions. And then again, we just continued the design at the back. But I really love this now. I actually think it's one of my favourite habs. I really do. Like, I absolutely love it. And it really come together organically. I just tore all the other bit out. I leveled it, you know, messed around with the terrain a little bit because there was some bits where I needed it to be a little higher than others. Like, for instance, like here, it does go up a little bit there, which I'm not mad at. And what's nice is there's lots of places for the monitors to hide. They've got their little cave there. They can come around the back here if it all gets a bit too much. And then obviously they've got their water area as well. And yeah, I just think it's a massive improvement on what we had before. And you know, this is what I was saying. We have to go through the zoo and start updating all of the habs. I've got my eyes on others that I want to do already. You know, I was looking at the tortoise hab here. Obviously, I did put out a post on the community page and on Discord asking people for, you know, bird suggestions they'd like to see added to the game, and one of the birds would actually fit in here perfectly with these tortoises. I've already changed out the heat lamps. I'm using these heat lamps now because I think they're just a bit better than the others and are reduced on, you know, the piece count. Changed the colours of the rocks up ever so slightly. I actually think the lighter tone is a bit better, but I think that we could probably, you know, go a bit more heavy with the planting in here. I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like there's you know, a lot of open space, but I think that, you know, there is some space to put some more plants, and I'm definitely thinking of doing that. I'm genuinely thinking of like using this bit of space up here as well. I was looking on the mods list, and there is a smaller tortoise species that I think that we could potentially put in here. With the new update that's coming, they're going to have the low gates, and we might be able to put a low gate kind of like at the end there, raise this wall up a little bit, leave the seats in, but raise the wall up to the point where the gate would be, and then we could have some tortoises in here. We'd just rip these plants out, maybe go with some different plants. But yeah, I do feel like there's scope for this to be improved, definitely. I think that that wouldn't be the worst thing to do. I don't think I would rip it all out and start again, because I actually quite like the planting in here, but I think we just add a bit more and fill in some of the gaps. I have changed the size of the doorway now. As you can see, it's a lot more realistic. Now we've got the smaller hitbox mod on. This room in here, I don't know if this room actually needs anything. I don't know. Let me know if you think this room actually needs much. This is just a, you know, a room for them to come that's between these two. I know that, you know, these animals, they do hibernate, so this room would probably be used for that, potentially. Not sure. If that was the case, we would probably need to put some, like, kind of, you know, boxes in here that they could go inside. Maybe that would be a nice addition. Just a couple of, you know, boxes for the animals to go in. And then if we go out here, you'll see I've updated this gate as this door as well, so it does look a lot better. But again, I haven't really touched the outside, but I think maybe a little bit more grass or something outside here might be nice, you know, in keeping with what we've done with a lot of the other habitats, just to kind of add a little something in here, maybe, like, you know, like over in the corners or whatnot. I think that might be quite nice. So that's one I'm looking at. And I was looking at this thinking it's not that great, but actually this one's not that bad. The rock design is just slightly different, but this one's actually not too bad at all. And I really like the hanging plants in here, so I'm not going to worry about that. But I've got lots more to be cracking on with, gang. There's no point and no need to do what's happening next. I just wanted to show off what I've been up to. And so there you have it, my friends. We are done and dusted for another episode of Tropical Wing Zoo. I hope you've enjoyed this. It's a bit of a surprise episode. I wasn't planning on doing any more this week, but I thought the progress was too good not to share with you guys. If you're new around here, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It'd be really appreciated by yours truly. Drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed it, and feel free to check the description box to join the Discord or follow me on my socials. But until the next time, my friends, stay safe, stay humble, and I will see you real soon.